Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a doubleheader, a post-fight for UFC Fight Night Sandhagen versus Marias, and a pre-fight for UFC Fight Night Ortega versus Chang Sung Jung. And so let's get started with the post-fight of Sandhagen versus Marias, just a post-fight rundown of the main card. And so to kick off the main card, we had in the featherweight division, um, Ilia Topuria versus Youssef Zalal. Topuria won unanimous decision, looked amazing. Then in the heavyweight division, we have Tom Aspinall versus Alan Badut, and this one I got right. Tom Aspinall just made it look easy, quick TKO. Knockout in the first round, just like I said on my pre-fight show. Then in the middleweight division, we have Dricus du Plessis versus Marcus Perez. This one I got right as well. KO punches round one. I don't think it was how the fight would turn out in which round, but just who won I got right. But anyways. Yeah, then we had a heavyweight bout with Marcin Tybura versus Ben Rothwell. This one I got wrong, but it was a close fight. It could have gone either way. It was decision 29-27, 29-27, 29-27. And, like you could easily say Rothwell may have won the first round, and then Tybura won round 2 and 3, I think. But yeah, I think the gas tank started to deplenish for Ben Rothwell, but he put in a worthy effort, and just I think the gas tank's what did it for him in this fight. Then in the co-main event, we had Edson Barboza versus Makwan Amirkhani. Did not see this one coming. I thought Makwan Amirkhani was just going to be taking him down left and right, and he tried to really in the later parts of the fight, maybe utilize some of that grappling, but. I think Edson Barboza's takedown defense has held up in this fight pretty well, and I think his takedown defense gone better over time. I think he's learned a lot from the Khabib fight, and since then he's really tried to work on his takedown defense. He's still a striker. He's not a guy who's going to shoot for double legs left and right, but he's mixing things up a little bit more, and he's more or less willing to sprawl more to stuff takedowns and really pick his shots with the striking and still try to go for those flashy knockouts. Then in the main event, in the bantamweight division, we had Corey Sandhagen versus Marlon Moraes. This one, TKO finish round 2. Corey Sandhagen looked good in the first round. I think the body kicks was doing it. To Marlon and just gassing him out and wearing him out, and I think it was a smart move for Corey Sandhagen, and Corey Sandhagen just was able to finish him off with the head kick, spinning wheel kick, and punches in round 2, and just looked amazing in this fight. Corey Sandhagen, I think, is pretty much next in line for the title. I think he gets the winner of Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling, and it's going to be a good fight. I'm really excited for this bantamweight division. So let's do the pre-fight rundown on the main card with the Korean Zombie, Chang Sung Jung versus Brian Ortega, featherweight main event. So my predictions for this card is I'm going to go with okay. So to kick off, kick off the main card, we have a featherweight clash with Thomas Almeida versus Jonathan Martinez. I think Jonathan Martinez gets it done. I think he's just had less battle damage done to him, and he's a hungrier fighter. Thomas Almeida has suffered some massive defeats in his last several fights, and I think Jonathan Martinez is just ready to get his name out there, and I think he knows this is the fight to do it, and I think he's ready for it. So I'm picking Jonathan Martinez, and I'll say he gets it done second round knockout. I think I could easily see a finish here. Then in the welterweight division, we have Claudio Silva versus James Cross. Initially, I went with Claudio Silva on this, but then I thought about the age and just how much James Krause has been cornering fighters and been, really there on the scene with fighters. I think it's really built his fight IQ up. And he's a younger fighter going into this fight, and he still has plenty of experience, and he's only had one loss in the last several fights. I think James Krause is going to come in prepared in this fight, and I think he's going to pick him apart. And I think second or third round knockout. I'll say safer is third round knockout for James Krause, if not a decision win for James Krause. Then in light heavyweight division, we have Jimmy Crute versus Modestas Bukauskas. I'm going to go with Jimmy Crute here. I think he's has a very impressive record going into this fight, and I think he's just still a young and hungry fighter, and I think he just has the tools to get it done here. And I'll say second round knockout here. Actually, you know what? I'll say first round knockout. I'll go on a whim here and say first round knockout. Then in the co-main event in the women's flyweight division, we have Caitlin Chookagian versus Jessica Andrade. I'm going to go with Caitlin Chookagian here. I think when you think about her loss to Jessica it was a split decision and it could have gone either way. Then you think, okay, well, she just got blown away by Valentina Shevchenko, which, for the title, in the title fight, and there's no shame in that. And I think, she just she's learned from that loss since then, and I think she's just going to come in, using that footwork, that reach, and just not stay in the pocket too much with Jessica Andrade. And I think that's going to be the downfall of Jessica Andrade, because I think Jessica Andrade is always a fighter that goes straight forward. She's going to be trying to get stay in the pocket and really just make it a boxing match in the pocket. And I think Caitlin Chookagian's really going to be moving side to side and just picking her apart and using height and reach advantage. Then in the main event, so I got Chookagian by unanimous decision. Then in the featherweight division in the main event, we have Brian T. City Ortega versus Chang Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie. I went back and forth on this one, but I think, thinking about it now, this is a 5-rounder, and Brian Ortega can take a beating. We saw that in the Max Holloway fight he had. He's had a long layoff. He's had time to prepare. Chang Sung Jung, he had, he's had some fights where it's been hit and miss for him. Ortega's only had one loss, and I think, with that said, Ortega gets it done. I think I'm going to go with third round submission. I think he's going to wear out Chang Sung Jung. Chang Sung Jung, his gas tank is just, it'll be there for a while for the first couple rounds, and Ortega may take a beating, but eventually I think Ortega's going to get desperate for that takedown and eventually get it, and then work into submissions. I'll say third round submission, rear naked choke, or guillotine, something of that nature. He's really going to try to utilize that black belt, that killer jiu-jitsu black belt he has from the Gracies, and I think he'll get it done here. Roughly third round submission. So there you go. There's my predictions for this fight. And as always, stay tuned for my post-fight of this card and other episodes from Nate's Corner, or Nate's Corner for that matter. And until then, see ya.